Live from America's home for motorsports, welcome race fans, one and all, back to Green Flag TV this afternoon. It's round number 4 of the preseason races, and this is our final race of 2024. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Mullet alongside Derek Watson. We are bringing you all of the racing action from start to finish on a beautiful Saturday afternoon. Derek, no better place than to cap off a calendar year at this 1.5-mile quad oval steeped in decades worth of history. Home to the Z-Max Dragway. You got dirt track racing, you got road course racing, drag racing, and most famous of all, stock car racing in Concord, North Carolina.
Well, you know, Nolan, I was trying to think today how to summarize this race, and what came to mind was simply there's no place like home for the holidays. That's what that famous song says, right? And for a lot of racers of any kind, but especially oval racers, Charlotte Motor Speedway is home. This is a track where a lot of teams are based, a lot of drivers are based, a lot of fans are made at this track. And so what better place during the holidays to be than Charlotte Motor Speed? Look at this beautiful track here. Mile and a half, basically 1.45 miles in length. Got the infamous dog leg. It's got the red, white, and blue painting around the track. And I believe we're in for an exciting night of 100 laps of racing.
100 laps, 150 miles. We'll see these 30-odd NASCAR trucks rumble to life. Qualifying is currently underway. Small little goof up on the session creation. This is, of course, an open qualifying session. Not typically what we see, so a bit of a curveball being thrown at drivers this afternoon. But this is going to give these guys just a few more critical minutes to learn what other people are driving like when they are pushing at their absolute limit.
Well, and also it does a couple cool things. One, it's going to help you learn how to use that little bit of draft we get from the trucks. And two, it's going to let you learn how hard you can push, because there is a limit to these trucks at Charlotte through the corners where eventually, if you're not careful, you're going to start to lose it. So that truck in the bottom almost you right there. Whether it be in the draft or out of the draft, there's limits to how hard you can push here. So yeah, open qualifying, not the intended setup maybe. But hey, as a driver, you learn to adapt, you learn to roll with it, and see what you can get. Now, of course, what may happen here is this may be a case where the driver leading the pack is likely not the fastest driver, however.
And it can throw its own problems, right? You want to try to get the cleanest amount of track possible. Not easy to do when you've got 36 trucks all trying to set times at the same time on a 1.5-mile quad oval. You got to be absolutely on point with every last one of your movements if you want to try to get any kind of momentum going for you here in these types of qualifying sessions. It does make it extremely interesting to see who's going to end up where. Right now, it is Jason Fensler for JF Motorsports, top of the boards, but Aaron Raymond, 3-time champion, not far behind.
No, and with this being open qualifying, you know, the first instinct, I think, for maybe someone who's watching along, think, oh, they're going to get lots of practice. No, not really. Look at this. You're going to see lots of drivers come down, kill that run, and want to start over, because here it's all about, you know, fresh tires, tire temps, and everything to get that hot run in an open qualifying format. So get some really cool hot lap practice in here. Maybe not so much for the race. Well, that truck was a little, I thought, loose out of the corner for a moment, but he's getting chased down in that draft. That green and blue machine right there is leading this draft. And that white truck, the 53, I believe it is trying to get a fast lap here.
Still trying to get some fast laps in. 2 minutes are left here on the qualifying sheets this afternoon. Those are the two doodads working together, looking to try to get whatever kind of moves they can get mustered for themselves here. Hey, may as well, right? You got the ability to work as a team during qualifying. Work as a team during qualifying. You got to do everything you can to try to get the most amount of time extracted out of these race cars. But we'll get to all of that in just a little while. For now, we are going to take things with just a little step back. We'll tune ourselves in for the United States of America National Anthem, and we'll be back with the starting grid.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight. O'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Qualifying is drawing to a close, and with that, we will send things on down to pit road as drivers are just getting gridded on up now. Time to take a rundown of what this next 100 laps is going to look like. It is the fourth race, 100 laps around the Charlotte Motor Speedway. On pole position this afternoon, it is going to be none other. Eventually, once we're still getting the last couple of names in, it would seem here. Now we'll move things on over onto the gridding phase. And, well, Derek, top 10 are coming at you. It's going to be a wild race.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started on the grid here while we get moving. Here we go. Let's get the top 10. So start on the pole, Jason Fensler in that number 15 machine. That's Aaron Raymond on the outside. Then Jared Duda and Vinny Tinkner, is third and fourth. Zane Bailey and Scott Rankin, 5th and 6th, back there in row 3. 7th and 8th is Jim Duda and Brennan Gregg. And then Justin Asagnak and Michael Gudger round out your top 10.
11th place, you're going to have one Bruce Dudley bringing it up in the number 11 position alongside Jordan Jung, returning regular from the SRA IEL Truck Series. Mark Krinke out of the Midwest will be in 13th alongside John Buwalda Jr. Bill Hales will be down at 15th alongside Thomas Lane Jr. Dylan Grutzmacher is in 17th. Rookie coming on over from SRL on Sunday night alongside newcomer Lee Tidwell. Then rounding out the top 20, it's LeBron Van Leer and Joshua Highbaugh.
Going back to P20 first is John Holiday with Anthony Williams on the outside. Then Mike Campbell and Dale Rapp back there in row 12, followed by Danny Story and Michael Dow with Joshua Small and Jimmy Kolmensboger back 27, 28th. The last couple of drivers to turn a lap time here is 29th is Joshua Jernigan, Robert Amaral in P30, Robert Chiswick P31, and Anthony Lane P32. There's some drivers who did not set lap times. I'm trying to confirm they are not on track, so I do not believe that Jeff Gilmore, Chase Modzwicki, Julian Ballou, or Steven Tibbs will be in this race.
So looking like we're going to be down a few drivers right out of the hitch with this one. Bit of a shame. We were hoping to get a full 36 truck grid, but hey, 32 still out on the racetrack. That is just as well for quite a few that are looking to get on the racetrack as well. Colt Laskowski as well so far has not gridded up. We got 32 though that are lined up and ready to rumble. It looks like it is going to remain as just those 32. There you see Aaron Raymond taking a bit of a step backwards as trying to get an eye on when Fensler is going to be leaving. And boy, oh boy, you can feel that tension building. This track it's one of those tracks, a win here just feels different.
Yeah, I think when I was trying to figure it out today, I was thinking about where would I rank this track on that list of like, man, I got to win here, right? And especially for an oval driver. And I think it's got to be at least second or third, right? I mean, for a lot of oval drivers, I think the peak is Daytona. Winning in a Daytona 500, whether it be an official or leagues or hosted or whatever, that's a pinnacle moment, right? But Charlotte means something to a lot of drivers. Winning that Coke 600 or winning any race here, it's so important because almost every iRacer starts here at some point. I mean, in the rookie street stocks, it's one of the few tracks we cycle through, and it's so commonly used. I agree, winning a race here just feels a little more for some reason.
Field's going to work down the back straightaway. I think it's all of that history, especially around the 600, right? Whenever they come on down here, that's what allows for this to really feel special. It feels unique. No other races like it. It's the only 600 race on the calendar there. There's plenty of 400 and 500 mile races. And there's plenty of 150 mile races as well for the SRA IEL Truck Series. We'll see how this one's going to pan on out, though, as the field going to work its way through turn numbers 3 and 4. As always, we're happy that you are joining us here on a beautiful Saturday night in the hands of the JF Motorsports number 15 Silverado, Jason Fensler. Into the Geico restart zone. It's go, go, go for the final time in 2024.
Oh, they're already loose in the back of the corner. Seen just in the back of the camera shot, I think I saw a couple of trucks that were loose, but all is good. They kept it mostly straight. No caution here on lap 1.
No caution so far. Fensler still leading the way out of turn number 4. And look at the battle pack that is being thrown up behind him. Aaron Raymond, 3-time defending champion, looking to the outside for the lead into turn number 1.
That smoke you see, no harm there. That's the little bit of incident we had a lap ago. So we're going to stay green here, but look at this battle on the outside. Now it's that outside lane. 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 trucks all lined up here. Never mind. That path has already been broken.
Scrambling down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. Raymond still hunting the outside. It'll be Aaron Raymond that leads lap number 2. We tick our way over to lap 3. Fensler still working the bottom side of the racetrack. Contact between the two entering turn 1.
Yeah, this is what point we talked about in the drivers' meeting was, hey, little context, okay? You can lean on one another if you need to. This is racing after all. Well, these guys went ahead and took that lateral on lap 3 here. As you see, it's just still Fensler and Raymond side by side. Now the bottom lane is lining up. This is good news for Fensler.
Good news for Fensler, not so for Aaron Raymond, still on the top side of that number 15 entry, right on board down to the turn number 1, and look at how much Fensler is able to poke the nose out in front here as they come up turn number 2, but just can't get clear. Raymond is being stubborn on the outside.
Yeah, really staying persistent here and just trying to make his presence known, kind of being a little bit of a menace, right? Just trying to stay visible, trying to stay there. Just let him know, hey, I'm racing you, and see if he can just make something happen. But doing a pretty good job around the line again. I believe it's going to be Kinsler again leading a lap here. But these guys are just side by side. Now what this is doing, these drivers behind are grinning ear to ear. That's Duda, Tigner, Bailey, Rankin, and others, because that means right now they're keeping them in this race with that 2-wide draft.
Trying to keep everything within the draft, trying to keep everything sorted, and still side by side for about 5 laps now in this battle for the lead. This is going to be shredding their tires as well, going side by side like this, especially in the early run where you need to be conserving a little bit.
Yeah, I was thinking about that a second ago. I was like, man, just 2 stories to follow here. One is the tires. The tire conservation is definitely a thing here. You know, everyone's going to get 3 additional sets of tires down on pit road, so you'll have that if you need them across 100 laps. But also remember, fuel. This league is a 60% fuel allocation league, so fuel mileage definitely matters here. And hey, the shortest way around any kind of circle we're taught in science class is always the inside lane. So if you want to ride an outside lane for all these laps, you're kind of burning an oomph more of fuel. And I was wondering if that would come into play if they just kept side by side like that.
Well, for a moment, Fensler cleared, but he wasn't confident about coming across the nose there of the number 6 as he ended up pulling back in line and went down to the inside. That opened up the door. Raymond was able to stick the nose right in, trying to go round the long way still. Fensler working his way to the inside and still top to bottom. But all the while, Jared Duda is just taking his time. He's chilling. He's riding easy behind them, letting them burn their stuff up. You know for a fact, once they get double file, if they've burned their stuff up, he's going to breeze right by both of them.
Yeah, he's just kind of having fun, moving back and forth, kind of studying the lines, just kind of being patient, waiting for something to happen. Maybe looking to see who gets a slightly better run where, so maybe he can sneak a nose in if he needs to. But you're right, Jared Duda is very comfortable right there in that white truck, that number 53 machine. Now he's going to try push here because maybe we got a new leader, and Duda is going to help push him around.
Aaron Raymond, first official full lead change of the night. He'll take that one around the outside. He now leads the way down the back straightaway. Let's take a look at what happened on lap number 1 with Joshua Jernigan and Moore, and Jernigan has dropped a huge weight as a result of this.
Yeah, watch what's going to happen towards the inside, coming into turn 1, if not at turn 1 here. Look towards the back of your screen. Right there it is. That's called not clear, driver.
Yep, definitely not. Car inside, and Jernigan's not going to be a happy camper with that. Good news, not a lot of damage. That is recoverable. He just needs a caution to get himself back into contention. Jared Duda, by the way, has gotten around Raymond for the lead. Raymond's not taking a line down, though. Shoes to the inside of turn number 3.
Well, look at this. Duda has really pulled ahead here as far as getting around Kinsler. Now Kinsler's under attack for P3. That's going to be, I believe, Tigner back there. And that number 10 machine trying to now get that spot away. So maybe the surprise here is maybe Kinsler burnt some stuff up. I was sort of under the impression, honestly, that it'd be the opposite, that we'd be thinking that Raymond burnt his stuff up. But Kinsler's having a harder time as this run goes on. Maybe too much wheel input to stay on the bottom of that track.
And look at the squeeze there from Jared Duda, trying to pinch the Monster Energy Tundra in down to the inside of the racetrack. So far, though, some very clean and respectful racing between the two all the way back to the field. And notice how initially they were breaking away, but now more and more drivers coming into play. Looking at Zane Bailey, Scott Rankin, Brandon Gregg, Michael Gutcher, even Jim Duda. They are on the front contact now! Jared Duda dumped for the lead into turn number 3. Hang on, Saban keeps it off the wall. What a save from the 53 truck.
What a great move. He's not done yet. You see that car, or that truck probably still wiggling pretty bad. But I think he's finally got it saved here through the dog leg. And wow, what a moment. You saw, well, let's see the replay of what happened. How's a good word, right? Because I don't know how he kept that saved or how that came to be, but the fact he got back in line 4 or 5 cars back and no one wrecked is nothing short of a Christmas miracle.
All of that allows for Vinny Tigner to jump to the top spot. Let's take a look back on what happened here. This is coming down to the turn numbers 1 and 2, and we'll follow this along all the way down the back straightaway.
But the question will be who moves up and who moves down. Watch.
Raymond moves up.
Look at that. Raymond moves up.
Ooh.
Yep. Raymond moved up, and really, I mean, that's impressive. That, give that man a cookie like that.
Didn't
1,
touch
2,
anything.
3, 4, no. And watch, there's a second wiggle that kind of happens right about there, where I thought for sure maybe he was going to lose it finally, but no, he kept it going. Yeah, I mean, he just got rear-ended right there in that back quarter panel. Watch it, wiggle, 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 gets it saved. And this is, to me, is the hairiest part of the track, this dog leg right here, because it's hard to tell. Ooh, he almost cut off. It's at the 27 of Brennan Gregg, I think he almost cut the nose off of.
That would be a save that Michael Thorpe Jr. for the High Tide Race League would be proud of with all of his moments that he's had. Talk about giving that man a run for his money. Jared Duda, though, I know I keep, it's like beating a dead horse by now, but you and I have seen it's not the first time these two have come together. They claim that it's a fresh start between them, but you see moments like that and you wonder, is it?
I mean, it probably is. It's just that sometimes there's certain drivers on a track where you find yourself around. Listen, it's no different than if you have like a difficult coworker at work. Somehow you always end up in a meeting with them. You always end up, you know, on a project with them. You always end up somewhere, and you always end up disagreeing. You're not trying to. It's just sort of how life works itself out, right? And so that's probably what's going on here between Raymond and Duda. They're trying to avoid one another. They're just sort of magnetically attracted almost, it feels like sometimes. But looking back through the field here, look at this purple and yellow machine on the outside, like an LA Lakers inspired paint scheme.
Caught the wall there as well. That's the LSU Silverado. Whoa, heads up as Bruce Dudley pushing up from the bottom lane.
Oh man, I mean, you could be 3 wide at Charlotte, but I am not happy being 3 wide at Charlotte. At least it was in the corner. That's probably the safest place to do it. I guess maybe the back straight, but man, I'm glad they got it settled before the dog leg.
Yeah, they got that sorted out. Mark Krinke is the 3rd truck in line, now trying to look for the outside of Bruce Dudley. So there goes Krinke, round the top, Dudley down low, Gutcher started to pull a gap out in front. Fensler, Bailey, and Rankin are 3 trucks right now that are under a blanket. It started to single file out here quite a bit more than what we saw last week at Texas Motor Speedway. A lot of side-by-side action, a lot of carnage that took place in that race. But so far, we're making some good moves here this afternoon. We're already almost 20 laps into just a 100-lap race.
Yeah, there's something about Texas, especially after the remodel or the repave or the rescan, whatever you want to call it, a few years ago. It just seems to be a little bit more treacherous. I think is a good word for it. Just sort of lends itself into being a little bit more not calm or whatever you want to say about it. But Charlotte, I mean, you get yourself in a group here, and the benefit too, everybody's done this track. I said earlier, you know, when you start as a rookie in iRacing through the official series, you basically start here, and everything races here. I mean, NASCAR, IndyCar, street stocks, you know, Silver Crowns, I'm pretty sure races here at some point. I mean, you know, and you have the road courses. So everyone races here at some point, right? So, I mean, everyone kind of knows the track. So, I think it does tend to lean itself to maybe a little bit cleaner racing than some of their tracks. So, never mind.
There goes Gudger into the infield. He's going to take Bill Hales with him. Nope, sorry, that's Jordan Jung. They'll both recover, though. Get back out onto the racetrack. Heads up the track. Goes the Von Van Leer. Gudger scrambles, and that will allow for John Holiday to pick up a couple of spots.
Wow, that LSU truck went up and high and back and every which way he could to avoid really wrecking there. And we'll talk about that later if you don't mind. That dog leg looks deceptively simple. But let me tell you what, when you're racing that dog leg, it is hard. Unless you're up against the wall, it is hard to know when you are and are not clear. In that, oh man, yeah, he just came down. I think he just either wanted to be clear or maybe thought he was clear off that wall. But there we go.
Jordan Jung kind of hopping across the infield grass here, hopped over that quarter-mile oval in the infield. Watch this here when he hits this other side. Look at how high that truck gets off the ground, and that's not ideal considering just how much these trucks have had trouble staying on the ground in the preseason races. Half expected that truck to take flight. Aaron Raymond is the first truck to hit pit road. Really early, though.
Yeah, I was surprised. He called out pitting last lap by, and I kind of double-checked everything. And was like, what did I miss? Because I thought myself, too. But, hey, I mean, we're basically right at the quarter-way mark. So, you know, we'll see how this plays out and who needs to pit when. But at 60% gas tanks, we're not exactly that far from your first pit stop, I wouldn't think. So here's the battle for 20th on track. You see it there. See the names on the bottom of your screen. A beautiful 5-way battle here. Everyone just trying to find a lane, find a spot. Find anything you can find here at this track. And of course, you mentioned so many different variations of this track. That Legends Oval a second ago, the road course.
The Legends road course.
The Legends road course. Everyone kind of forgets about that, right? So, and in fact, wasn't there a simpler road course before the Roval came into play? Maybe even. There's so much that's happened here at Charlotte that just happens in iRacing. Kind of hard to track it all. Whoa, look at that red and yellow truck coming up here. Kept it on the bottom lane, but there's a little bit of movement around here. Now, Nolan, remember, if anyone's watching this, and maybe you're watching as a spectator, you're watching your friend racing, and hey, that league looks fun. Well, as far as we know, the SRA is still recruiting. This is a preseason race, so feel free to reach out to them on Discord or reach out to your friends and ask about it.
Yes, sir.
As recruitment is still open.
And if you need somebody to ask directly, Thomas Lane Jr. has got you covered. Michael Gudger becomes the second truck to come down for a scheduled pit stop under green flag conditions. This one just at the 1/4 mark, right on lap 26. So it'll be the next one to come down. A little bit of a battle picking up here. This one is for the last spot inside the top 5. Jared Duda and Brandon Gregg are going at it.
And boy, I mean, the danger of pitting right there, look how slow that crawl was. And you're hoping that this pit cycle completes before or if something happens on track that would cause a yellow flag. Ooh, there's a smoke right there from that truck coming down pit road. A couple more coming here. We'll check. You see no black flags handed out by race control yet for pit road violations. But, man, when you get to crawl down pit road at 45 miles an hour, it feels like you're baby crawling.
It's wild because those are the same types of speeds that you'd be, hitting the interstate with. On the real road, on public roads, it feels like you're going pretty quick. On here, may as well be at a full stop as Thomas Lane Jr. is in, Bawalda's in, Danny Story is in. That's Dow and Jung that are just leaving pit road, bottom of the screen. So we got some more coming down to pit road. Vinny Tigner opening up a huge gap, 3.2 seconds, well clear of Bailey and Fensler. And he's also coming in.
I'm sorry, he's coming in this time. I started to wonder if anyone thought they could make it how much further, because, I mean, we're getting close to being from people pitting on a 4-stopper to a 3-stopper. And this is a trend you and I see a lot in leagues where we have to talk about who pitted when and who has the fuel and who doesn't have the fuel. But you can make this a 3-stopper, cut a whole pit delta off of this race. There's no way that doesn't benefit you.
Now the question is, do you take tires? Whoa, Jared Duda, look at that slide into pit road.
Yeah, right.
Tell you what, that's a good way to hit it, though. I mean, you scrub off a lot of speed by doing that, and he's right away angled directly towards pit exit.
Yeah, it certainly is. So let's hope he didn't lose too much time getting angled that way. But now you see everyone coming down here. I see 3 cars left. That'd be Scott Rankin, Mark Krinkle, and the 388 of Dylan Gretzmacher, I believe, are the top 3 cars not to a pit. It's almost everyone here down pit road. But man, I'm telling you right now, if Rankin or these others could make it, if they could get a couple more laps in, they're so far ahead. But up here comes Rankin, here comes Krinkle, and I think we're just about to complete the pit cycle.
And Mark Krinke into pit road, Dylan Grutzmacher into pit road. Krinke and Grutzmacher, again, 2 drivers that are hopping over from the American Sim Racing League over on Sunday night. It's a bit of a shame. I was looking forward to Sunday night racing, but that series been called off.
Yellow flag.
We got a caution.
Oh, I don't know where it is yet, but that's going to really be interesting. I think we're being told it might be on the front straight, but what will this do to some drivers will be the question now.
Well, we'll take a look first on what brings out... well, we'll actually look first at Jared Duda and that little swing at the pit road. I want to get a look on board with the helmet camera of that, and then we'll take a look at what brings out this yellow flag. Take a look at this. That is some clever driving there to angle that car the right way, and then trying to figure out the yellow flag, what brought it out. As Grutzmacher is there, this is right around when that caution flag comes out, and well, I'm not seeing anything around.
Yeah, keeping a look around the track as well. There's the smoke. Usually when there's smoke, there's fire, and there's going to be the truck. If we back that up,
Story and Dow.
If I was a detective, I'd call that evidence.
I would be inclined to do the same. Back this up again. And so this is Michael Dow, and that is Danny Story on the outside. So this, in theory, should be the 2 drivers that bring out this yellow flag. Side by side through 4.
The 50's going to travel up.
Not clear.
Not clear. Man, that was wild.
Again, the back end lifts off the ground and nearly goes over.
Yeah, it does. But what I'd like to do, if we can get an onboard view from the 50, this is what we were talking about earlier with this dog leg and how treacherous it is. When you're on board, look at this. Now, this won't be the best example, but you can't really tell how clear you are. And it feels like that dog leg on the left really creeps up on you. You're trying to get up above it, and then you sort of just end up across somebody else. That's not the best example of it, but I mean, that's a great a starting point of saying, hey, that dog leg looks super narrow when you're in the car.
One more look at speed this time as they come around for turn number 4, and look at how high that back end gets off. All 4 wheels off the ground.
Yeah, all 4 wheels indeed. That's becoming a trend with the trucks, so we're going to kind of follow across all of iRacing in the season. Well, Nolan, only 2 drivers got stuck a lap down. That's Michael Dow in the 50 who had the wreck, and then the 56, Robert Chiswick, 2 laps down. Everyone else was so far around in the cycle of pit stops that, weirdly enough, this didn't hurt anybody.
Kind of works out that way, right?
Here's where it may have benefited in this weird way. The drivers who just pitted, which would have, I think, have been like Tigner, Benzler on lap 30, Brennan Gregg on lap 30. I begin to wonder how they benefited, because I mean, that's extra fuel mileage in that first stop, technically. They might be in line to have a better fuel run here.
Ooh, but they're being waved around the pace truck. Everyone's being waved around the pace truck. What's going on here? Oh, I think some people had to stay out to avoid going down laps, but they're going to have to wave this off. They did wave it off. What's going on here? This is a new one.
That's quite the little parade, isn't it? Yeah.
Are they doing a sighting lap, I guess?
Okay. So we're being told that the trigger point here is that the leader was on pit road under caution. So all these guys were technically a lap down at the moment of caution. What we're being told is that the race controllers decided that, hey, these guys all technically were between the pace truck and the leader when we all lined up because the leader was on pit road. So if we don't let them all go around, then the moment the leader takes the green flag, he's going to start passing people again and lapping them. So that was quite the parade. That might be one of the longer parade lines of wave arounds I've seen in a long time.
And only one driver not going to get that wave around. Joshua Highbaugh, right on the tail of the lead lap.
Oh, all right. Well, that's going to reset things here. We're going to so we're going to have Aaron Raymond be your leader, Scott Rankin in second, Vinny Tickner in third. That's how we're going to line it up here.
You know, we talk about trucks and getting
Hold
off
on,
the...
Sorry, let me come back, cut you off. I'm sorry. We're being told that actually you brought out the 41 truck. We're being told he's been given. There's some confusion here. Hold on a second, because some people are saying he was told to wave around, and he's being said, no, it's not letting him wave around, so...
Well, that tracks with not being allowed to wave around by the fact that he's not going around.
Yeah. Well, hey, we do have a time. Listen, we've all probably been there in iRacing before when you just kind of are zoned out. You're kind of mad. You're annoyed. You kind of don't notice what the screen is telling you. But yeah, he's confirming that he's being told to line up right here. Now, I'm confused though. Like
he's not the leader. I promise you that. He's going to go a lap down immediately here.
That's where I'm lost. Typically, iRacing would do one or the other. Typically, the iRacing race control would either put him around,
we waved it off,
or put him to the back. The fact that there it is. Okay, now he's being told to wave around. I was like, because that's like old school NASCAR restart right there. That was we haven't seen that in a long time.
There we go. Now we'll double it up. Well, third time's the charm. But you mentioned about trucks getting up in the air. I mean, I don't even think it's a pattern anymore. I mean, we had a lot of them at Daytona. We had one truck almost go over at Homestead. We had trucks that did go over, I believe, or almost went over at Texas. We're now 4 for 4 in preseason races and airborne wrecks that, frankly, should not be airborne wrecks. I mean, what do you do at that point?
I mean, I don't know. We'll have to take a look and see how that compares to different data points that iRacing is getting, right? Because a lot of the times, I feel like when we're seeing those airbornes, it's due to obviously wrecks and people getting turned, and it's due to collisions with walls or maybe collisions that have off banking moments. So it's something that needs to be addressed. Honestly, I'm not a big enough science nerd to know how to address it, so I don't want to pretend to be one. But yeah, I mean, it's becoming a real thing. It's not just with this update. I saw it a lot last season in different leagues where we had a driver who had badges on his car for every flip because he flipped like 5 races in a row. So I don't know, what to do about it, but just we'll see what happens. All right, well, we're gonna be double file here. This is still a developing story because technically they shouldn't be double file because they all got the wave around. But race control's gonna double file them up, and we're gonna go green here.
Might be because they had to wave the entire field around, so they're saying, why even bother? We'll clear any penalties that come out of this. So we'll see how this is going to go, though. But back to restart zone. Green flag comes back out. We're not racing. The green flag never came out. The green never dropped, and now we got caution number 2. What's going on? The green never came out. He was still holding it in the air, never dropped it.
Well, which makes it more confusing about...
It dropped and then came out less than 2 seconds later. And it came out after after Aaron, was already across the line.
Oh, well across the line. But my point is, if the green's not out, why are we wrecking? Like, that would be the question to look at in this replay we're going to find in a second. But watch this here. I mean, if we're not racing, why are we wrecking? That's what it's
because the leaders started to go, and then they stopped.
Yeah. Oh, it's on the top lane. Look at that. It's in the top lane checking up. Everyone's trying to jump the start is what's happening. And then it just sort of honestly goes to hell from there, where eventually both lanes are turned around. I mean, you got trucks going backwards, trucks turning around, trucks stopping to avoid other trucks. But this kind of becomes that game where everyone's trying to jump the start, right? Everyone's trying to get that little oomph of advantage, which I don't necessarily hate. But watch this here. You're right. So here's Barney the Flagman, top of the screen. Green flag's in his hand.
Never drops it. Not once. No drop, no drop, no drop, no drop. They're already wrecking no drop. Nothing. I think right around here, the green flag drops.
Very quickly. I saw the scoring pylon quickly go green to yellow. I mean, in less than a second, I bet I saw the color green hit before the yellow came out. Now it's a lot of confusion. I don't know what happened. I have some suspicions of what happened, but I don't want to say without knowing for sure. It may have something to do with the fact we kind of extended the yellow and let some people wave around. But regardless, here's the point. Everyone can be mad and say, oh, race control didn't drop the green. Race control didn't do that. This didn't happen. That didn't happen. If none of that happens, we are pacing for Pete's sake. That's where I'm stuck on. We're pacing for Pete's sake. The fact we're wrecking, we're spinning, we're hitting walls, we're turning ourselves 180 under caution, unacceptable.
I'm going to jump on board with one of the trucks that's at the very, very back of the field. I'm going to test a hunch here. So watch for that flag. So this is the truck that was at the very, very back of the line, Robert Chiswick. Right there, the green flag drops. I think it was scoring the 56 as the leader, potentially. Or somebody behind him.
I do as well. I think there's some confusion about who waved around. Maybe who wasn't supposed to wave around. Yeah, I want to be careful in how we comment on that. And say I think there was some confusion about letting people wave. And maybe too many people waved or not enough people waved, or I don't know. But you're right. I kind of am of the impression that Barney the Flagman thought someone else was the leader.
Well, so here's my confusion on that. I could understand that if we could see that there was another driver at the top, but the two drivers on the front of the line, they're still being scored as the race leaders on our timing system, which pulls directly from iRacing.
Yeah.
So what possible scoring error could there have been unless there was an actual quote-unquote glitch in the matrix?
I'm going to say, without going back and we can stare at the replay post-race and figure it out, I'm going to guess somewhere in those wave arounds there's something in wave arounds, I think, that maybe caused a kerfuffle, if you will.
Well, we'll see if we'll get it a green flag run this time. Everybody's doubled up.
But again, I want to say this. Yeah, we are doubled up, and hopefully we're going green here. I want to say this one more time, though. Regardless of anything else, there's things in life you can control, things in life you can't control. Whether the green flag comes out or not, you can't control that. Whether the caution is extended, you can't control that. Whether you hit someone in the back end and cause them to spin around under yellow, that you can't control.
Would have been a wise move there would be for the drivers that were accelerated to just keep accelerated and slowly lift off instead of just slamming the brakes.
Sure.
Yeah, a lot of things that could have been done better across the board. But we'll see what's going to happen here as we'll enter the Geico restart zone. First dog leg, take number 2. Watch for the flag. And this time we get a green flag. We're back to racing. So no issues this time around as the field takes off down to the turn. Numbers 1 and 2. Aaron Raymond pulling clear as they hit the back straightaway. Zane Bailey following with him down the line. Now pulling to the top shelf right in front of LeBon Van Leer. Going for the lead in 3 and 4.
Look at this, almost 3 and wide offset back here for 3rd, 4th, and 5th. And lots of battles going. Remember, lots of new tires here. Lots of saved gas. Lots of aggression to get out. Oh, maybe that's a hard hit to the wall. Who? That's the, is that the 3 car? That is the 3 car.
Anthony Williams.
My goodness, that's Williams. He just plowed that wall. I think he might be done. Hold on, caution's out. It can't be for him. That's the LSU car. We talked about him earlier. That's the 42 of Lee Tidwell.
And Michael Gutcher.
Michael Gutcher. My goodness.
Well, it started strong.
It did start strong. I'll give you that, but boy, oh boy. Well, if you're Aaron Raymond, this is good news because you're just going to continue going around here and leading. Watch, there's 2 different incidents that are going to happen. Here's the LSU truck on the bottom. There's the 42 up top, sort of diagonal offset. Up, 42 comes down. And, oh boy, the 5. That is a great move by John Bowalda because he narrowly avoided that contact by threading the needle.
We're going to slide to a stop on the top side of the racetrack, take another look, and I think Tidwell got loose. That's what that looks like to me. I don't think it just came down. The angle of that truck, that screams loose.
I mean, it might be, but that's... I don't know. I mean, unfortunately for these guys, it comes right after the 3 car really just plowed the wall. Let's watch it again here.
So with John Holliday, we'll see if we can track down John Bowalda Jr.'s view of this. It's a good job to at least get on the binders for it. Here's the Jack Dow Motorsports number 5.
Ooh. That'll wake you up.
Yes, sir. And then earlier, we had a big mess involving quite a few drivers coming around through turn numbers 3 and 4. And this all started because somebody up front here, I think it was Bruce Dudley, got loose right there.
Whoa.
Look at that truck just snap around. Then here comes everyone else.
Yep, here comes everyone else. Here comes everyone who's trying to check up. Oh, and I thought the 3 plowed the wall. No, the 3 got body tackled into the wall. I mean, he just got crushed. And wow.
Well, 3 cautions. Still well short of the 12 that we caught last week at Texas Motor Speedway. So it's just a shame. They've all come in very quick succession.
They really have. It's a little bit of confusion, a little bit of chaos. Hopefully this cleans up.
Tidwell, end of the longest line, comes down on the 64. So Race Control does not think he got loose. Your assessment, Derek?
No, I don't think he was. He might have been a little bit looser when he decided to move down, but the way that wheel moved, if you were loose, that wheel would have snapped harder and stuck there, or you would have tried to offset that wheel somehow. You know, equal and opposite reaction, so to speak. Well, speaking of thoughts and input, we have an in-race reporter here, Nolan. Scott Rankin, you've been up in this race tonight. Well, Scott, we had a pretty chaotic, I'm going to call it a not restart. What's your point of view from what happened on this on this not restart?
So pretty much there's a bug within the iRacing system where when a caution comes out, the leader's on pit lane, it waves the whole field by. It's probably the 3rd time I run into it, so it's a pretty rare bug. So 3 times in 4 years? Yeah, pretty rare. But it does happen. Yeah, so it's just a little bit with that. I mean, we just got to be a little bit more clear, a little bit more precise. The whole thing is it's a pre-race, it's a pre-season race. So you know, if these sorts of problems are going to happen, this is the right time for them. I'm a little bit disappointed that we didn't go caution-free. Last time here at Charlotte for this league, we went caution-free. I hit a cone that day, and that ruined my championship run. Today, I was gonna be the only truck who was able to 2-stop it. So I'm a little bit annoyed the fuel's played out the way it is. But at the moment, I still might be the only truck who can 1-stop it from here. So it's tight, though. Other trucks are definitely a lot more back in the window.
Yeah, well, good luck here. We're about to go green, so we'll let you get back to it, and we'll see how this race turns out.
Copy.
Free fly comes back out as Zane Bailey jumps on the loud pedal. Brennan Gregg pulls alongside as they try to make that charge back down to turn 1. Tigner and Rankin side by side. Jared Duda in the fray. Zane Bailey pulls clear as they work their way to the back straightaway.
All right, everyone's kind of still forming up 2 by 2, pretty well deep through the field here. Trying to keep things moving, and so far so good. Look, there's Duda back at the bottom of the track, trying to get around again, saw some smoke. I think we're okay.
And Jordan Jung, catching the outside wall off of turn number 4. No harm, no foul for him. Bailey still pulling clear, and the Wanted Goons, a Logitech Ford F-150, trying to make moves down on the inside. Brennan Gregg will take up the number 2 spot on the outside line. Tigner and Jared Duda side by side for 4th and 5th as they get down into turn numbers 3 and 4.
All right, well, so far so good on this restart. Maybe a little bit of contact here or there, a little bit of smoke, but everyone's got it pretty well. Starting to single file it out a little bit, starting to kind of space it out. That'll be good news for the racing. I'll tell you what, Nolan, there were so many caution laps right there that I began to wonder who is really where on strategies right now. Because, I mean, we talked about people maybe on 3-stop races, but we just went through probably a whole pit cycle of yellow flags. I wonder who can cut out a stop here.
It's a very good question, and you know that there are some drivers, some of the more strategic thinkers that have been very much thinking about that. It's been in the back of their mind. They've been trying to plan in accordance with this. It's a bit difficult because usually cautions are quite predictable with how long they're going to be. These ones were not so. Oh, look at how far down the racetrack Fensler was on the approach to turn 3.
Yeah, pretty far down the track, in fact, and now he's got to be in the back of that group here. And remember, Fensler wants to get back to the top and do so quickly because he started at the top of this race. He started up on the pole, and man, maybe he was kind of rattling that back bumper a little bit. You know, it's maybe if he wasn't making contact, he was definitely coming pretty darn close to rattling the 5 of John Bawalda.
Bawalda down to the inside of the racetrack, trying to get around Aaron Raymond. These are 2 drivers down side by side. In season number 4, they were in a dead heat, locked in combat for that championship. Went right down to 2 races to go, where Aaron Raymond took that one away because Bawalda had to miss just 1 week of racing, and that's what did him in. Now Brennan Gregg trying to go for the race lead, side by side with Zane Bailey up on the top side of the racetrack. The 27 truck pulling clear for the inside, but Zane Bailey trying to pull the run around the high side.
Yeah, doing a pretty great job here is what he did. And, man, I get nervous when I get that close there. I mean, listen, this is a simulator. There is a little bit of side draft you can pull on a truck. Whoa, it's a truck going through the infield. A little bit of side draft you can pull on your opponents here in iRacing, Nolan, but realistically, the risk and reward of side draft versus the negatives of messing it up is a real equation.
And again, like you've mentioned before, it's an equation that a lot of drivers are struggling to figure out what's what. You can still see them double file for the lead of the race. Zane Bailey still working the outside line, and now that it's been rubbered in a lot more, that outside lane is a lot more viable when it comes to making offensive maneuvers. And you can see Jared Duda trying to push Zane Bailey clear as well. Might be thinking about making his own little charge for the race lead. And in fact, so much so that even Scott Rankin, a bottom line loyalist, has jumped up to the outside.
Well, doesn't this feel familiar? Didn't we just see this like, I don't know, 50 laps ago where Jared Duda pushed someone around and then took the lead himself? Doesn't this kind of feel like I just saw this half a race ago? Oh, I did. That's right. And he did this first time, but he's got a little bit more competition this time, and he's not clear on the bottom. That 27 on the bottom is not letting go. And ooh, up against Duda he is as they come into turn 3.
Jared Duda trying to hang on up from the outside line. Brennan Gregg down low. Vinny Tigner still caught in the mix as well. You got Scott Rankin making some moves as well. As Rankin going to hang on for that 5th place. But now Thomas Lane Jr. bringing himself into the fray. It's not often we see the team Mo's at number 38 up near the front of the field, but good to see that the series owner is making moves up towards the front of the field as well. Always good to see these guys getting back up into the mix.
Yeah, sometimes I feel bad for the race admins because you're so in your head about everything and everyone who, you know, did a penalty get cleared? Is this fair to this person? Fair? And I think sometimes all that stuff gets in your head, and you kind of lose that headspace of a driver, right? You lose that ability to focus in on the track and listen to the tires, listen to the track, listen to the car. Hold on, got a truck up and all. That's a 60, I do believe, up the top of here. I mean, yep, that is the 60. Well, That is, I think, Lieben Van Leer.
Scott Rankin,
Off the wall.
actually.
Oh, that Rankin up?
Yeah, scored as the 49-60 on the racetrack. So even in Lee sessions, can't get away from it sometimes.
Yeah, that stuff's got to stop. Like, here's my old man yelling at cloud stuff. Those numbers need to, not just from a broadcast standpoint, from a driver standpoint.
You don't want to know what's funny? It was LeBron Van Leer that took him out.
Well, that's, I guess, like 60 on 60 action, isn't it?
He's sending a message.
That's
Get my number off your truck.
Yeah.
I love it. Battles off for second. Jared Duda got Vinny Tigner down on the inside of the racetrack as they cross start finish. Tigner had second that time by at the line. And all the while, Duda continues to work his way down low. Zane Bailey up on the outside line of the racetrack, just behind. One truck clearing across the nose of another. That's Aaron Raymond. Oh, boy! And the night of Jung almost got into the wall, and Justin and Asogak had to kind of check up a little bit. Problems for Kolbensberger.
Yeah, problems right here. That's the 11 truck down on the bottom. I think he's coming down pit road. Is this problems, or is this just...
I think your tire's down, maybe.
Oh, yeah, maybe so. Yeah, he missed pit road, so we'll see how that truck behaves, but that would be indication of a tire going down. It's harder to determine that tire down, but he is well off pace here. But now back up front, this is the 10 and the 20 and the 53 all up in a battle here. So that's going to be Zane Bailey on the outside. That's Vinny Tigner on the inside, battling for the lead here. And once again, Jared Duda trying to kind of sneak his way back to the front.
Jared Duda, will he think about 3 wide up the middle? We won't think about it this time by. So Tigner and Bailey continuing their strong momentum here as they come down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. Brennan Gregg, Thomas Lane Jr. just a little ways behind. 40 to go at the line. And Tigner is doing a darn good job on trying to hold on to that race lead down low.
Yeah, doing a great job, in fact, especially considering the fact that he's got almost a two-person team up top of that little bit of push you get, especially down this back straight here. If they get lined up, they'll get a better run. They'll get more speed. They'll get everything. You see some trucks wide on the back of your screen there. But Tigner's doing an amazing job holding that bottom lane, being patient, not moving the truck too much, not scrubbing too much speed, not trying to side draft, just trying to run his own race.
Get a look at what happened here to Jim Kolbensberger. Got around Scott Rankin there, and then Rankin trying to go up and under, and it goes wrong. Turns the 11. Whoa, the 60 gets up into the air. The 11 spins around, so definitely not a tire going down. A coming together of 2 drivers.
Yeah, very unfortunate coming together. Now, in that case, that little bit of airborne, you could say, at least some of it was caused by the difference of banking right there, right? Even the back straight at Charlotte has a little bit of banking to it. So when you drive down, you're off, you're kind of off center, you're off kilter, if you will. You start to turn that truck around. That's what'll happen to you, unfortunately. So in that moment, it makes a little bit more sense. But again, back to the front here, and Tigner is doing an impressive job here. 38 laps to go, probably 1, maybe 2 pit stops to go. And he is doing an amazing job holding off not only Bailey, but also holding off Duda.
If there is going to be 2 stops left, I think you're going to take a splash and go on the final one. You take tires now, because you've been on these tires for a good while with all of those caution laps. And then you go fuel only in the last stop, because you're only going to have, what, about 10 laps left?
Yeah, maybe. I might even want to split it in half, honestly. If I was going to pit right now, I might want to figure out how long I could go and then kind of split in half. So for 37 to go, let's say 38 to go for easy numbers, that'd be 19 laps. I'd want to split it in half just to make sure I didn't get caught with some weird scenario with a caution flag coming out late, me being out of gas or something. But there's a car down pit road. So that's the beginning of our pit cycle with 36 to go. We'll wait and see who does come around here. There's the 5 coming off of pit road.
Jernigan going off of pit road as well. So some trucks already opted to come down pretty early on here. Not too many others thinking about that bail down to pit road just yet. They're going to look to go a little bit longer. Tigner finally clears for the lead. But now he's got 2 drivers in a single file, and one of them's been saving his equipment a little bit here.
Yeah, and I begin to wonder now, are some drivers a little gun shy to come down pit road early after the shenanigans of last time, right?
I would be.
Yeah, right? So I'll wait. You know, I don't want to be caught in that caution that sort of threw things off kilter. But speaking of it, here's 1, 2, 3. Your top 3 all down pit road. That's Tigner. That's Duda. Oh my gosh. And that is Greg, I believe. No. Bailey, sorry, not Greg. Coming down pit road. They're side by side. They all seem to be good now. Watch this wiggle right here. And oftentimes when that truck wiggles like that, Nolan, that's a sign that someone was coming in super hot and had to slam the brakes really quick. And then that brake lockup will sort of wiggle that weight around a couple times and make that happen for you.
See more coming in behind. Thomas Lane Jr., Brendan Gregg into pit road, and Jared Duda jumps both of them. Duda entered 3rd, and he'll enter with the net race lead, or exit with the net race lead.
Well, we'll wait to see why that happened. Was it just better pit? Was it just that better speed he carried on the pit road? Were some having to scrub the speed off? Did he take less gas? What happened? We'll find out soon.
Trying to get a look on the pit stop times. 14. His pit stop was actually longer than Vinny Tigner's by almost 0.4 of a second. He had the second of the pit stop times among them. I think he just was much better attacking and exiting his pit stall.
Yeah, but typically that, you know, and I've said before, I think in this broadcast, other preseason races and for other broadcasts, that is the one skill that we don't practice enough as iRacers. That really is a skill gap. How much speed can you gain and lose, or how much time can you gain and lose on your pit road entrance? And the truth is a lot, because a lot of drivers don't practice it. A lot of drivers don't know how hard they can push before they get busted for speeding. You know, if you ever watch a warm-up for an eNASCAR Coca-Cola race, the last 10 minutes is just drivers trying to cook that line. It's really fun to watch. It's kind of like watching like saves and fails all at the same time. But it's interesting to watch because those guys know how much time is to be found there, and they practice that on a consistent basis.
There's a reason why they say that races can be won and races can be lost on pit road. When you are talking about fractions of a second, those stops that could take whole seconds on pit road where you're spending over a lap in the lane, they will make a difference no matter what kind of run you're on.
Yeah, something that says to me the number I've always heard, typically it's like 1/10 of a second on pit road is worth like 0.2 of a second on track. So that's why it's important. But everyone's coming down here with about 29 to go. So let's take a look here. Let's see, where are we at right now? Your top 9, I believe, have not come in yet. So we're getting close to Finsler, Raymond, and others trying to make this on one more stop.
You see Jared Duda running in that number 53 truck right now, 20th place, bottom of the tower. He is the first truck that has currently come down to pit road. So this is a good indicator. If they're ahead of Duda, they haven't pit yet. Bruce Dudley.
Here. By the way, no, Nolan. Bruce Dudley, the only driver in the race tonight who has a live spotter.
I think that was the case last week and 2 weeks ago as well, was it not, when we first saw him?
I think so. Luigi Diaz Gonzalez up on the spotter stand for Bruce Dudley.
I remember that name.
And I think that's interesting. There's another skill in iRacing that's not talked about enough, right? Is live spotting. It's an option available to everybody.
Whoops.
Hold on. There's 35 turn. That's Bill Hales. He was turned around like 35, 40 degrees there on the pit entrance. But that live spotting is so helpful, right? There is lots to be said for how iRacing has improved the spotting system in game. Watch Bill Hales here.
Wheel hop.
Oh, I thought he was going to save it. Nope.
You hear the back wheels chattering there as he came down the pit road, like the bop, 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 bop. Yep, that is all tire hop right there. But you're right. I mean, the iRacing spotter, it's great, right? It's a lot better than nothing, but it still feeds you very minimal information. having a live spotter can feed you a lot more info that the Irish spotter just can't. And there are third-party applications that allow you to get some of those more detailed spotters, but it still doesn't compare to actually having someone that can go around and double-check that type of information.
Not just double-check it, but can tell you info that maybe the computer can't comprehend fast enough, right? So it's just, here's the thing, we're too wide. Okay, so we're too wide through the corner at Charlotte. How too wide am I? Am I like door to door, or can I like park a truck between us? Right? That matters when I'm trying to make a move at Charlotte. If I want to come up this lane right here, you know, how much space is between us? The spotter's not gonna, my friend can tell me that. My spotter can tell me that. You know, or hey, who's coming? How fast are they coming? Or, you know, what's ahead of me? Where is that wreck? There's an important thing for a spotter. The computer just can't figure out fast enough. During any of those wrecks we've seen tonight, that live spotter has a better odds of walking you through it than a computerized spotter.
Super speedways in particular, it is valuable because it can tell you where a run's coming from. It can tell you, Iris ain't no way iSpotter can do that. One truck sideways through the final corner. That was Joshua Highbaugh. Jared Duda in the top three right behind him. But in particular, Super Speedways, and especially Talladega, 4 wide. iRacing doesn't tell you you're 4 wide. Even if you're 4, even if you're 5, it'll only tell you you're 3. I've seen a lot of wrecks where people have said, I'm sorry I came up there. I thought I had more room because I didn't know we were 4 wide.
And a lot of times, it's funny you say that, because in iRacing, a lot of times you'll hear people yelling 4 wide, 4 wide, 4, because they know that no one knows.
Exactly.
You're 4 wide. But here's the other thing about spotting, too, and this is probably where a lot of people are hit and miss about it. There has to be a chemistry, right? There has to be some kind of connection between you and your spotter. And it is hard to let someone randomly spot for you. You maybe don't have that trust in them. You don't have a communication style. Because listen, spotting is a whole new world. You and I sit up here and we ramble for days, and we can talk for days. We're both pretty good at it, actually. We've been paid to do it from time to time. But when you're spotting, it's not that world. It's, hey, like low, you know, still there, clear. And that's all you can say, because the more words you use, the more time you're wasting.
And even what type of words you use, right? Like, there's a reason why some people say quarter bumper, then clear. So you know how clear you are. If you can risk a door check, or if you're just going to end up hooking yourself into the inside wall.
And also, do you have that trust in your spotter to know that if they say clear, that they're right? Yeah?
I like to imagine that a spotter to a stock car driver is much like a co-driver to a rally driver. They tell you vital information that you otherwise would not be able to know, let alone process quick enough.
Yeah, but if you don't have that chemistry and that rapport and that trust, you're gonna want to second guess that information, right? You're gonna want to double check it via your relative or via peeking through your mirrors, and you don't have time for that stuff. That's why you have the live spotter. And so a live spotter is a very tricky thing. I wish more people did it in iRacing. It's an awesome skill to have. It's an awesome skill to use that's available to almost everyone, if not everyone. But yeah, it's a hard skill to learn, but it's really cool to see when it's used correctly.
Right now, we've got 20 laps to go. We are on the longest green flag run that we have had so far tonight since the opening salve, about 30 or so. Krinke and Fensler right now side by side. This is for 10th. One Noble driver at the front that is no longer present. Aaron Raymond, caught speeding on pit road, had to be held for about not 50 seconds, but about a lap. So he had spent 54 seconds in pit road. He's now a lap down. He's now in the wall, and his chances of winning this race have gone up in smoke. Jordan Jung has just come down for what could be his final stop of the day.
Yeah, Aaron Raymond's probably one of the few drivers hoping for one more yellow to see if he can help put himself back in a lead lap spot here. But so far, not the case. He's in the 15 truck here, leading around this small herd. That's Jason Fensler there. He's got the LSU machine behind him. He's involved in a couple incidents tonight. He's got the 318 up there. That's gonna be Mark Krinke up there as well. So some new names getting some airtime.
Got a nice pack of about 5 clustered on up here. We'll pull this up for you. LeBon Van Leer back to Michael Gudger, separated by only 0.4 of a second right now. And this is a 5-way battle for that 7th place spot. Fensler looking for the outside. LeBon Van Leer, he pitted about 4 laps earlier than everybody behind us, so he's running on old tires right now.
Yeah, I was surprised. I had just peeked over to see that before you said it out loud. I was like, man, they're really running him down. I was surprised. There's only 3 to 4 laps difference on those tires and how much they're just kind of blowing by him, honestly. He's standing still to a certain extent. They really are. They're just blowing by. So Kinsler now back up to P7 here. And Kensler's one of the drivers. He pitted lap 75. I am confident he is good to the end of this race, or as good as anyone's going to be at least. But ahead of him, Brennan Gregg, lap 68. Zane Bailey, lap 67. Judah, 67. Vinny Tigner, 67. So I think Kensler's one of the front leaders to maybe cycle around here when all is said and done.
I think I just heard one driver potentially putting in the clutch and trying to coast a little bit into turn number 1. Might have been Brennan Gregg. Right on board with him down to the turn number 3. I'm correct. He's clutching and coasting here for the number 27 entry.
Let's see. Brennan Gregg last pitted lap 68. So that's going to be a lot of clutching, because that might have been something you had to start 10 laps ago to make work. That's one of the hardest things about talking about fuel saving. You can't talk about fuel saving late in a run. If you want someone to fuel save, whether you're on a road course, an oval, or whatever, that's a whole race talk. You have to really get that note in there as fast as possible. So we'll see how it works out, but he's going to get past here by the 15 pretty easily.
Yeah, Fensler's going to get by him. Krinke gets by him. Gudger right behind, trying to get by him as well. All this on that mad scramble back down to the turn numbers of 1 and 2. See this field working their way by you down the back straightaway, and Thomas Lane Jr. now, the 5th place driver, coming under fire. We got a couple in the pit road. Bawalda and Dow have both hit the pits for the final time.
Yeah, I was trying to say that might be the beginning of the last set of pit stops, if you will. But right now, Kensler's is working his way through the field here. He's now getting himself up to P5, or P5. Fensler does. I was thinking in my head, we talked about live spotting. Do you think he knows? You know, hey, listen, I don't need to push that hard. Like, the cars ahead of me, maybe except for the car right ahead of him in the 13, the top 3 are not safe on fuel. He doesn't need to push this hard. He could probably be a bit more, conservative and save his equipment. But I wonder if he knows that.
I would also be asking, is he safe on fuel? We saw drivers pushing right to the edge of that limit on the fuel on their initial run, but it was close. And then you still had some drivers that got caught by a caution because they were forced to come down.
Yeah, that's true. And he has really been leading his pack most of this run. So therefore, he has by that fact, used more fuel than maybe the car behind him. So we'll see how this plays out. But you're right, he may not be safe, but I would say he's obviously the safest of anyone on track, I would think, with a couple of people who pitted with him.
Right now, this is one of the closest fights on the racetrack. We did just see an exchange in hands for the lucky dog spot. That was Jordan Jung getting around Dale Rapp. There's a little battle between Josh Small and John Holiday. This is for 15. And they're trying to go side by side, but Small could be forced to kind of tuck back in line. John Holiday, new colors on that truck. I like it. That's a very striking look. His past livery kind of tended to blend in a little bit more with the rest of the field, but that one stands out, and you're never going to be unaware when that 9 truck is on your bumper.
Yeah, that's a nice paint scheme, kind of nice and bright. It'll pop in the daytime, it'll pop in the nighttime. So easy to be seen. Oh boy, speaking of easy to see, look at how easy it was to see that truck was wiggling around here. Remember, drivers are starting to push the end of these tire runs here. We've been talking about gas this whole time and who's safe on gas, but who's safe on tires? You burn a lot of tires at Charlotte Motor Speedway, so we'll see if maybe that becomes a problem here. We're now less than 10 laps to go, and this race is quickly coming to a finish.
Sure is. Only 9 laps are left to go, and those are the last 9 laps that we're going to be doing throughout the entirety of the 2024 calendar year. It's amazing that it's already been so long since we've been able to get a chance back. The next race we're going to be having is not going to be until Wednesday on January 1st when the Beer League swings on out for their first preseason race. And well, DJ Quagg will be back in the booth at the Talladega Super Speedway next Saturday for the final preseason race for the SRA IEL Truck Series. And then the High Tide Racing League, their first race will be on January 6th, next Monday, and they have confirmed it will be at the Paperclip.
Yeah, get some hot dogs ready, because we're going to be back in Martinsville. Someone's running a virtual clock. Probably a little bit of upset tempers when that race is all said and done.
Would it be Martinsville if it wasn't?
Yeah, that's true. So I'm excited for that race. You and I would have advocated for it at the end of the last broadcast for the High Tide Racing League, so we'll talk about that. But this really right here, speaking of this league, is coming down to a great run. Listen, this is a preseason race. They're trying to maybe get some last-minute recruiting in, get some drivers comfortable. We had a little bit of calamity in the middle. You know, you could argue some of that calamity was not of the driver's fault, some confusion with the iRacing system. You can point fingers where you want, but regardless, you know, beyond that little, 15-lap calamity, for the most part, it's been a pretty clean race. There's a lot of positive notes to take away from this. If you compare it to like American football, yeah, maybe you had one or two drives in the second quarter that didn't go well, but overall, you won the game. You know, you want to make sure you give that positivity away. And here's those people coming down pit road. These are the ones who pitted super early back on lap 67 that we thought couldn't make it. So with 5 to go now, it gets a little tense now, whether it be for the 13, the 15, the 318, or any of those others. Now the question marks begin to form.
One driver staying out, Justin Anasogak, trying to see if he can go the distance with only 4 laps to go. Anasogak making his first ever start with the SRA IEL Truck Series in that number 13 Toyota Tundra. If they can take a win off of a fuel mileage gamble, that'd be huge for him. But he did pit on 71. We have never seen anybody go for a 30-lap run tonight on 1 tank of fuel.
Yeah, remember, as we said in the beginning, these are 60% fuel caps. So this is not a full fuel tank that you're used to maybe doing in official racing or other racing in iRacing. So it's much shorter runs here. I'll be surprised if he pulls this off. But he did draft for most of this run. He just got by Jason Fensler only a couple laps ago. So that may help a little bit, but I'd still be surprised.
He's still got a little bit of draft from a lap truck up the road. The problem is Fensler's only 1.7 seconds behind him, so he can't really afford to do the clutch and coast fuel save strategy, where Fensler's going to be right up the back bumper by the time they get to the white flag.
Yeah, so we're coming out here to 2 to go. I mean, he's doing much better than I thought he would, honestly. I thought he'd already be out of fuel, and that's not a diss on him. That's just how math works. In my head, I thought for sure he'd already be out of fuel. So unless him and Fensler are both saving, then I'm surprised. But Fensler is quickly closing that gap a little bit here.
Lap and a half to go. The 13 truck working his way into turn numbers 3 and 4. Does he have the fuel? We'll find out in about 30 seconds time.
All right, here we come now. I'm going to answer some questions here to come out of 4 for the penultimate time. White flag is out.
White flag in the air. Vinny Tigner looking to the inside, going to unlap himself, put himself on the lead lap. That lets Fensler close a little. Anasogak working his way to the back straightaway. Now has the draft of Tigner to work with. It might be game over as he'll make his way down to the turn numbers 3 and 4. And it'll go the way of the rookie. And in the 4th preseason race, Justin Anasogak takes his first win of his SRA career.
That's impressive. That fuel run right there is impressive. Congrats him for the win. Congrats for the fuel run. Congrats for the ability to be patient and save gas. That is harder than it looks.
That is an unreal drive. He has to be commended for that. We haven't seen anybody come close to that all night long. We'll have to get a word in with him to find out what his secret was. See him working around through turn numbers 3 and 4. He will be a very happy camper with that.
There's some heat, Nolan, between the 49 and the 11 on the last couple corners we might want to take a look at as well. There is some, I think it's the 49 and 11. There's some disagreements about a contact on the last lap. So that while it was all happiness and rainbows and sparkles and unicorns at the front of the field, the back of the field, not so much.
We'll take a look at that in just a moment. The 13 will take whatever fuel he's got left to burn it down for the driver of Kenai, Alaska. What a deserving win this afternoon. He had to work for that one, and to be frank, came out of nowhere. We barely mentioned him all night long, and all of a sudden, he's leading the darn thing.
Yeah, right out of nowhere. He just came through and led the field and did it correctly. He got a couple competitors on track here. Maybe they want to celebrate, or I thought maybe they left. I thought they were going to celebrate with him, but this year to kind of observe. So congrats to the Alaskan native who making his first start, as he said.
He said it was the 49 and the 11?
Yeah, they had a real disagreement about some contact, so I don't know
Scott,
what happened.
what
I'm not
did you
seeing
do?
it watch this here.
This might have been earlier in the... Oh, no, it was. Here we go. Down to the inside. That's Scott Rankin and Jim Coleman'sberger.
There's a key move.
I don't
Unless they're
know what
arguing
there was to
about-
be mad about.
I mean, I saw maybe, I don't like using the word in broadcast. I mean, you saw a little bit of wiggle, maybe a net code wiggle, but I mean, there was nothing, no contact there. But I mean, they really had some heated words post-race, so I don't know. Yeah, maybe it was just earlier in the race, and they're just kind of now getting argued about it. Now the race is over. But yeah, they were not. They weren't horrible words, but there was a heated disagreement, if you will.
Well, there was Coleman'sberger getting around Rankin initially. And that was on the white flag lap.
I don't know. Well, maybe we'll never know what caused that disagreement, but I can tell you there was one. So we'll wait and see what happens with that.
Well, for now, one thing we do know for certain is the race results. So we can take a quick rundown through those now, as we will jump on back and show you how everything finishes on up from race in action this afternoon. It is Justin Endesogak taking home his first race win of his SRA career. Absolutely strong drive for him. Mark Krinke was back in the number 2 spot alongside Jason Fensler. Michael Gudger was in 4th with Grutzmacher in 5th. LeBon Van Leer, Bruce Dudley, Bill Hales, Josh Small, and John Holliday will close out the top 10.
Moving back into P11 is Anthony Lane with Brennan Gregg in P12, Danny Story in P13 with Scott Rankin, the number 49 machine, or number 60, depending upon your point of view. Back there in P14, Joshua Highball, P15, with Mike Campbell, Benny Tigner, the last 2 cars on the lead lap back in 16-17. Then it's Robert Amaral in P18, Jordan Jung in P19, and 1 lap down is Zane Bailey in P20.
From there, it's Jared Duda in 21st alongside Robert Chiswick and Aaron Raymond back in 23rd, 1 lap down, along with John Walter Jr., Dale Rapp, Thomas Lane Jr., Michael Dow, Jim Duda, Jim Coleman'sberger, and Joshua Jernigan.
All right, and we'll round out the field here. That's going to start with P31 with Anthony Williams, Lee Tidwell, Jeff Gilmore, and some others who did not take the field tonight in this race. So 32 cars in all started and in some way finished this race, although maybe not all of them at the advertised distance. Will Nolan, I think it's time to catch up with a race winner and see what Justin has to say about how he felt there on the track.
Can't find any fault in getting in touch with your race winner. It is Justin Endesogak that comes home taking his first win of his SRA career. And Justin, you had to work for this one. You were running a very quiet race tonight, just kind of keeping it clean, keeping it easy. All of a sudden, you're right there fighting for the win, and you take it on a fuel mileage game. Talk us through it.
Yeah, I was just saving tire. I kind of just figured out something in the practice race yesterday, and I was just hanging around, just letting everybody go, and then save a little fuel here and there. Especially on that last stop, I think I was only like 0.8 to the good coming across the start finish line. But yeah, I just pretty much just let everybody go and save tire. I think that was the biggest thing tonight, was tire wear. But yeah, I had fun out there.
It looked like it was a fun race for you for sure, and you keep a completely clean truck all throughout. Kind of talk us what the gameplay was like for you this afternoon. Are we going to be seeing you back in the SRA IEL Truck Series of the regular series season, and what might your goals be long term here?
Yeah, I'm be running, I think, full time for the season. Papa Bear wanted me to come over and run with him, so yeah, just go out there and have fun.
Sounds like a solid plan for you. Well, Justin, thank you for taking the time to join us here this afternoon. Anybody want to shout out before we let you go here?
Everybody that came out tonight and raced, you guys for broadcasting. Mike Allen, I know he's in the hospital. I hope he feels better. So hopefully you can come out here and race with us.
That was Justin Anasogak, your race winner out of Kenai, Alaska, coming on home to take win number 1 of his SRA career. And then that'll bring up Mark Krinke, SRA regular, coming on over to race with us on Saturday night, standing by with Derek Watson.
Well, Mark, all in all, when it's all said and done, your 318 machine finished P2, pardon me. Is that a surprise to you? Were you happy with that result? Was it a surprise? How do you feel about it?
I'm kind of surprised. I didn't know if I was actually going to make the race. I was doing some stuff, ran a little bit behind schedule, like hopped in with about 15 minutes of practice. Just kind of was going to run around and see what happened.
So all in all, a pretty wild race strategy-wise, right? We sort of almost had, I think, a fuel run almost deleted by that set of caution flags that happened for about 15, 20 laps in a row. So after that happens, how do you kind of reset your mindset? How do you get zoned back in after all that calamity there in the first half of the race?
Yeah, I just kept coming down pit road. It was like, it should negate a little bit of fuel loss we're going to have, but just come in the back. Okay, take it easy. We're going to figure, we should be able to slightly make our way to the front, and somehow we managed to do it.
All right. Well, next week, preseason, Talladega, I do believe. Is that exciting? Is that petrifying? Is that not your thing?
Oh,
How do you feel about it?
Talladega, it's going to be a good race or bad race. I've been racing it all week, so I guess we'll see what this has to offer.
The IRC official races have been there all week, so we've all kind of gotten our own little taste of it by now, right?
Yeah.
All right, well, listen, good or bad, we'll see you in 1 week's time. Congrats on the P2, and have a good evening.
Thanks. You too.
All right, there you go. That's the driver of the 318. That's Mark there, finishing P2, Nolan. And yeah, he's maybe optimistic, cautiously optimistic about next week.
Cautiously optimistic is good, right? You need some of that cautious optimism sometime.
I feel like the term cautiously optimistic is a really bad pun for Talladega. I wasn't trying to do that, but I feel like when I said it out loud, I was like, man, we're using the word caution and Talladega together is bad form,
It could be. Who knows? It doesn't look like we're going to get in touch with Jason Fensler, but yeah, Talladega. It's known as the biggest, baddest track on the iRacing servers and of the NASCAR circuit for a reason, right? I mean, it's much like Daytona. The track's just a little bit longer. The banking a little bit steeper, track just a little bit wider. The front stretch a little bit wider than its backstretch counterpart, but it's always an interesting ride. Daytona was a good race. It was actually a really good race. But with the amount of airport crashes we've seen, I feel like we might be getting a little bit more of that coming on over into the new year.
Yeah, maybe so. We'll wait and see. I mean, hopefully as this league goes on and as the year goes on, some drivers figure the truck out more and more, and maybe less contact, less wrecks. So maybe not, but a lot of exciting things are on the board for 2025 and with this league as far as we get through the preseason, get into the actual racing where points matter and incidents matter and everything happens. And I think the racing will, by default, sort of calm itself down once things are quote-unquote for real.
I could not help but agree as well. And it's like you said, a lot of exciting things in 2025, not just for SRA, but beyond as well. It's a bit surprising that we are already at the end of another calendar year, but here we are, right? A lot of firsts have been on the table for us here in what has been an awesome 2024. Lots of great races. We've had our first endurance races. We've had some first absolutely major wrecks. We've had some of the closest finishes in league history this year. We've hit new milestones, and boy, oh boy, there's a lot more of that's bound to come in 2025. For now, in 2024, that's all the time we're going to have time for one afternoon. We want to thank everyone for taking the time to once again join us for some absolutely phenomenal racing action on Saturday nights. The SRA IEL Truck Series will swing on out to the Talladega Super Speedway 1 week from today. And beyond that, It'll be, of course, the Beer League with the High Tide Racing League, OMSRL, the Prodigy Racing Association, and so much more, all kicking off in January as well. We may have died down on racing action here in December, but it's all known as Revving Alive. 2025 is just around the corner. We'll see you all there on Green Flag TV.